Hello, noble one. My name is Adaeze Atason. I am the president, Adaeze Atason Family Club. Welcome to my channel. Today we continue with part 2 of chapter 6 of the book we have been reviewing, Gentle Measures in the Management and Training of the Young by Jacob Abbott. In the last video, we looked at the right approach to rewarding obedience and the wrong approach to rewarding obedience. In this session, we are going to look at some of the tips Uncle Jacob gave us to support obedience in children. The first tip he gave us is that we adults must appreciate the children's difficulties in obeying our instructions, acknowledge it, and empathize with it. Though we have grown, one, we must not forget what it was for us or was like for us when we were growing up. Number two, we must not forget how difficult it is still for us now to obey. Like my first daughter would say, we are all children of God and we are not the best children. We disobey on a regular basis. That reminder to self helps us to be more empathetic and reduces irritation and agitation of soul. I find that this helps me and helps me particularly to be patient, because when I remember all my own failings as a child of God, I am more prone to give some allowance to my child. So the first thing really is to appreciate their difficulty. When a child is playing and you give them an instruction, they are frustrated by that interruption. When a child is, focused on doing something else and is getting pleasure from it, and you expect them to change to something else, it causes them irritation. Because we must appreciate that when we demand the obedience from our children for something like studying their books, going to bed early, they don't have the appreciation of the benefits that they are going to get. God did it that way that they are not to worry about future benefits. And the Bible even gives us advice to be like them in some ways, in not worrying and trying to be fixated about the future. So they don't have that capacity to analyze costs, benefit of actions, and there has to be something else, some other thing that helps them to obey. And it can't be reasoning. We have already ruled that out. You can't try to explain to them, especially in the moment, oh, go to bed so that you rest, so that tomorrow you will get up early and feel fresh. The child does not appreciate what a good night's rest will do to the body. She does not appreciate what they need for energetic morning. All that concerns the child at that point is that this play I am engaged in is exciting, is interesting, and I want to continue. Like my little daughter would say, I want to draw. So engaging her in a conversation of 5 life lessons that you will gain from reading your book is a waste of time. Then acknowledge the difficulty. Mostly in the mornings when she wakes up and she's like, I'm so tired, I want to sleep, I'm so sleepy. I tell her, I am sleepy too, my girl. I understand. And then I offer to help. I say, don't worry, mommy will help you. Let me carry you. Or let me help you remove your dress. Or let me, sing for you. Like I will offer something to encourage her in the difficulties that she's or the perceived difficulty that she's facing at that time. This, I see, goes a long way in helping them. The second thing is what you call indirect rewarding, but I have come to phrase it as celebrating success. So what happens in this place is that when a child succeeds in obeying, even if it was delayed, especially for those that are retraining, celebrate that obedience. It was hard for you, but you did it. I'm so happy. I try to avoid the word proud because those that are more wise says that it has a bad connotation all around. So I say happy. I am happy with you. I am happy for you that you believed in yourself or you were strong enough to resist temptation, or I celebrate that success. I give hugs, I lift up, I do also. You just get creative with the rewards. It doesn't have to be candy, it doesn't have to be drinks, it doesn't have to be anything tangible. Just you stopping what you're doing to celebrate that success does so much for them and helps them to do it again. And it's something you can always refer to. Oh, do you remember yesterday? You were so tired, but you still did your duty and you were happy when you did it. You remind them of that experience as a way to encourage them to be obedient or to listen to you in the present situation, just as you can refer to an old experience of consequence to say, remember what happened the other day? You went to the mall and you made a fuss and you came home and you were in the thinking corner for 20 minutes. Don't do it again, because if you do, it will happen again. I'm laughing because my little one came home today. Mommy, I was naughty. Mommy, I was naughty. I'm like, why were you naughty? She already knew that when she's naughty outside with her big sister, when she comes back, there's going to be consequence. So I asked the big sister, was she naughty? And she said yes. I said, do you want to forgive her? She said yes. So those are the little ways you encourage uh, obedience in children by showing empathy, showing grace, and just generally allowing them to see humanity or the goodness in humanity through you. Okay? The third one is to provide information to the child about the why of obedience or listening to you. This does not mean that we are encouraging reasoning. He is saying that obedience, though implicit, need not to be blind. So, however, this must not be done at the point a child is required to obey. You cannot rely on reasoning to make a child obey. And over explaining or wrongly timed explanation weakens the authority of the parent. But you can take a concept or an idea that was a point of contention during obedience, say doing your duty. And when I say doing your duty, a child should have duties that is clear to them, that is something they ought to do without expecting excessive appreciation. For example, when you're done eating, you carry your plate from the table to the sink or to the dishwasher, or you wash it or you rinse it, whatever needs to be done. It's their duty, okay? So when they do it, you're not to fall on the floor and just over express appreciation. You can then at other times, outside the time you are training the child to do the duty, tell stories about the importance or the benefits or the goodness therein of a child doing duty or the rewards that come from it. At a different time, maybe you're playing or you're drawing a picture. You can draw a picture of a child that is washing plates and how the mother was happy, and you still connect the obedience to why, like safety, the point of safety. I make it a point now that we started to read this book to explain to the child that, to my own child, that if I'm telling you to obey, it's so that I can take care of you, protect you, help you and support you to grow and be the best you can. But I don't have this conversation in the time I am asking her to obey, which is the wrong thing I used to do before. But now I've corrected it. I can have that conversation at other times when we're going somewhere and I see a child being disobedient, and she can see, the risks facing this child by that disobedience, and you can point it out. When you do something like this, you see how this child just hurt himself? That's what will happen to you, and that's what we are trying to avoid by expecting you to obey us or listen to us immediately. We tell you to do something. Okay? So that's the better approach to use. The fourth and the last is that authority does not need to be oppressive. We've mentioned this in partly in the first point. As parents, caregivers, we must be considerate in our expectation of obedience from the children. Don't make it a habit to spring disagreeable obligations upon a child suddenly. As much as possible, give them some time for their mind to accommodate the shift from what they are doing to what they are going to do, or from what they are used to doing for what you want them to start doing. It is very important that we do this. And the reason I say it's very important is that half of the irritation that we experience during training will, I think, be removed by just this adjustment. Secondly, a, a mindset shift that makes you appreciate that if it's not a life or death or the thing is not urgent, getting ready for bed now and getting ready for bed in the next 5 minutes will still produce the same result, but one has less resistance. You'll find that the child will have less resistance when you give them what our modern day psychology call a transition moment, a time to move from one idea to another. When you go to Montessori schools and some of these schools, you see that teachers use that a lot. When the children are doing one thing, maybe they are studying hard, they are concentrating, they are trying to trace their letters. We are going for a break session in the next 5 minutes. Try to finish up. They prepare their mind so the child knows that, okay, even if they don't understand the concept of time, like my daughter will say, give me 200 minutes. They know that, okay, after some time, this thing I'm doing has to come to an end and I'm going to start another thing. And if you find that your child is someone that goes into what they do with full focus, they might need like 2 or 3 transition sessions before they can go over to the next activity. So the gentle reminder he gives in this chapter as we conclude is that we must remember what is stated in chapter 1, that the nervous system of a child is delicate at the formative stage. We are then called to avoid as much as possible things that shock their nervous system, irritate their nervous system. This is the foundation that builds children that will have even temper, be more emotionally regulated, and be more emotionally resilient because they have a stable foundation in their nervous system. This is not even about obedience. This is about health and proper development of the brain. Okay? I am excited. This is a short chapter and we are moving quickly to the next chapter. And the next chapter is chapter 7, the art of training. When I saw this topic, I was like, wow, truly, training is an art. And if you don't know it, you will make a mess of it. So I'm excited to see what Uncle Jacob has to tell us about the art of training. So until I come your way next time, go do great things, noble ones, and let us support our children in this month to be more obedient to us. Take care.